Goodness comes in evil goes. Kimungo.
Kimungo Kumbozi, Kimungo Kumbozi, Kimungo Ukumbozi, divine liberty, divine liberation, divine freedom, and all that will bring for African people wherever we happen to be on the face of this earth. Karibu, welcome. My name is Kwende, and today we're going to get into another important subject. That subject is African souls naturally develop themselves from childhood into adulthood maturity. It is age-old knowingness amongst African souls that the preciousness of the young is of pinnacle importance. And as a young one grows and develops physically, there is wisdom guidance from the senior souls around that young one to ensure that that young self is cultivated to become optimally functional as either an African masculine man or an African feminine woman. This is self-determined, intentional, and purpose-driven effort on the part of African souls. It doesn't happen by accident. And so a young one is guided through their growth into fullest maturity and expresses the self accordingly with that maturity. And then, of course, that young one, as he or she develops into adulthood, in turn takes the role of being a wisdom guide for others. And so the cycle is a continually ascending one. Of course, in this time and space where there's much by way of interruption and disruption by others that mean the African ill, attempts to derail the African from a rite of passage that allows maturity to take place can be imposed. So it is the onus of Africans, and it can only be with the Africans, to restore themselves and their knowingness. And as adults, it is important that we do our best to purge the self from alien contaminants of ill that seek to render us in an uncultivated childlike state where behaviors are less than mature in adulthood. We can grow biologically and have the form of an adult, but if there is underdevelopment in the other areas of our life, we can express that then to our own self-detriment. So it is important that we are able to cultivate ourselves in the best ways that we possibly can, making use of the cultural values that are readily accessible to us, such as the wonderful Nguza Saba, the 7 principles, and also spiritual formulation that is accessible in a harmonizing way, such as that of Asbok, African spirituality by way of Kwanzaa, which has a focus on the levels of self so that we can spiritually energize the African person self, the African harmonious and complementary male-female union, the African family, the African community, the African nation, and the African world community at large, with all the duties and rightful responsibilities to ourselves throughout those spheres, in the ascension of our magnificent and fullest flourishing African self, so that grand civilization which is the natural norm of African life, can be fully realized. So with that, food for thought, and surely it is food for thought, Kimunga Ukumbozi, Kimunga Ukumbozi, Kimunga Ukumbozi, divine liberty, divine liberation, divine freedom, and all that that will bring for African people, wherever we happen to be on the face of this earth.